Hello everyone, good evening. Thank you for spending this Friday evening instead of at Halloween party. You are Halloweening with us. So welcome to tonight's talk and a quick introduction to those of you who might be unfamiliar with us. So I'm Ling from a local theatre company called Drama Box, and this year actually is 30th year of Drama Box's existence. And as part of that, we decided to curate a series of talks and conversations for our audience and our friends to find out more about Drama Box and the kinds of works that we do. And tonight especially interesting because we are not only just talking about ourselves and our works, we're actually introducing and inviting three of our friends whom we have met over the years, our overseas friends, and then getting them to actually join us tonight so that, from their own places all around Asia, and then having a chat with us tonight. So some logistics first. Firstly, you are watching me actually on YouTube as well as on Facebook Live. So in the event that something happens to your computer, be it like the Facebook crash or whatever, touch wood, you can just quickly switch over to the other channel, and then you can take a look, continue watching from there. Next up, you can also please share this video that you're watching now so that more and more people are actually capturing and watching us as well tonight, so that we can have more people in this conversation and finding out more about the exciting works that our friends, three panelists are doing actually at their spaces. Now, one last thing is donations. So because we are all in COVID situation, we also understand that it's quite difficult for everyone. But also here at Drama Box, we can't really start work as yet. And then therefore, we definitely need your support, as you can see, the running track below. So please donate to us at giving.sg/dramabox, and then we will be very, very grateful for every dollar and cent that you send to us. So that's it. I think we shouldn't spend too much time with me talking to you, but actually to invite panelists one by one so that we can quickly hear and get into what they want to share with us tonight. So first up, Yoke Pin. Hello, Yoke Pin.
Hello. Hello from Penang.
Yes, so this is Yoke Pin from Penang. Actually, we have met for actually almost 10 years and maybe even more. And the interesting thing is that day as we were catching up, that we realized that we taught a workshop together in Macau. On community-based practices and methodology as well. And actually there was a period of time once a few years ago that actually with Activate, the Drama Boxes youth group, we also visited Yoke Pin at her space in Penang. So it was very, very memorable to see her space and the work that she does. So later on, we'll hear more from Yoke Pin when she introduces herself. So I'll move on to our next panelist for tonight, which is Clarence. Hello. Hi, Clarence. So Clarence is my personal friend for many, many years. Actually, we also went on an exciting trip to Thailand together. So it's actually been quite a few years because now Clarence is based in Japan. So I haven't actually caught up with him for many years or as regularly as I would like to. So I'm excited actually tonight to also catch up with him about his work, exciting work at YCAM, and for him to share with us about his technical management work and how actually is it applicable. Because Apple is actually Singaporean but based in Japan. You know, what is that? Has that relationship got to do with Singapore? Maybe you can also talk about that a little bit tonight. And last up, we have Ed all the way from Chiang Mai, which is 22 tonight. So Ed says winter is coming, so it's actually 23 degrees already. And for me and Ed, actually we first met at the SDA conference and we were on a panel together. But of course, I have heard a lot about Makhampom's work and the rest of her colleagues, Gui and John, etc. And we have actually also visited her space in Chiang Mai, the beautiful paddy field in her office. So later on, hopefully, we can get to see it. Unfortunately, it's dark there now, so we can't really see that much. But otherwise, welcome, three of you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And let's have a good time chatting and catching up with each other, yeah? So maybe before we continue, let's start with Yoke Pin. And Yoke Pin actually has prepared something for us to hear and give us some context so that later on when we want to continue chatting about it, then that is something we can use to springboard from. So Yoke Pin, over to you.
Thanks, Ling. Oh, I just want to congratulate also Drama Box for 30 years. And I said actually this year is 20 years. So I saw the post about 30 years, 40 years, and 20 years, right? I think the Makhampom also celebrating their 40 years. I guess work in community is long term. I mean, I started with that is 20, 30, 40. I know that there was actually a film about 20, 30, 40. It's actually quite similar to community-based work that we do. So I'm from ArtSet, and if you can see on the slide, ArtSet actually we started in 1999, and we never see ourselves as like a solo. So we see ourselves as like a partner to many different parties. So we aim to be work in community-based local culture, but using arts and creative education as the mean and the way to promote more cultural sustainability, and also getting people, activate people to come back to their own place. Next slide, please. So over here, we always treat a place as a lab where we think, things are not static, and because they're people. So over here, you can see a lot of our work actually main aim as encouraging young people. And then we have a lot of facilitating parties. So we engage with local residents and also be in the site. So without the site, it's actually very difficult, and the people. So through the arts, we hope that we could actually understand the place better, to interact with the people, observe and research, and also reflect. Because I think a lot of the time we are just too take for granted things that are surrounding us. So this is like really going to on the ground to actually interact with people. So next slide, just gonna show you some of our work. Yeah, you can see like 3 pictures. Like a lot of it is children. We usually go very to the ground. So a lot of it is local market, they are residential, where we use materials that actually surrounding them. So the plastic that you can see is actually a project in a low-cost flat where we talk about waste management issue with the kids and also upcycling. Therefore, they kind of use this used plastic to build I think called raksasa is what it's like a creature that actually can eat rubbish. So I think that's how we interact with the kids, using the surrounding materials. So you can see like on the left hand side, the kids actually presenting back their research on how actually the waste management in the market back to the fish vendor. So illustrations being used and also photo. So there's just illustrating a few of our arts tools that we use, but it also depends who are the artists that we work with. Sometimes it could be also choreographer, dancer. So we didn't confine it for any one particular form. It's also depending on the needs of the community. So it really range from very different form. So form doesn't come first, but the people and the place first. Then we actually find the suitable creative form that we could actually use it to communicate with the children as well as the community. Next. Over here, we believe that there's this young and new, or I wouldn't want to use old. I mean, there's always this exchanges opportunity where the kids, the young one, can teach the old one, and the old one has so much knowledge that the young one can also share. So it's not just age, so culturally differences or even knowledge or differences. So you can see in the pictures that we usually encourage the kids is to go down on the ground to actually interact with not just traders. There are also people that they never met in their life. So for example, like the kids, I think I know the girl over there. She's actually interviewing the meat seller. They say they never know that the meat seller can speak such a fluent English in the market. But the kind of perception in terms of where they come from. So I think that's where we bridge people from very diverse background to kind of interact. So the culture doesn't mean you're Malay, Indian or Chinese, but the culture means that what kind of background that you come from. So the interaction become more exciting and that people don't get to know, and they open their eyes to things that actually happening surrounding them. So there's things that happening. So that the cooking one is my favorite picture actually. So there's this Indian Muslim lady who actually teach the girl, the Chinese girl, how to cook appam. I'm sure Singapore also got appam, right? So this is like, oh, this is the Indian Muslim style of the appam. And then the girl said, oh, Chinese style of appam is different. So how different? So then they start to exchange. Oh, the one is like a bit more salty, the other is more sweet. So I think that's where, you know, our work, where we kind of create this platform so that they actually interact. Yeah. Next slide, please. And we're not just with the kids. A lot of our work needs a lot of people and also a lot of different groups. So we, because of the many years of working on the ground, we kind of work out certain methods to work with in community. So we started to actually give training or some sort of like, you know, development to people who also share same interests like us. So we actually, you know, on the far left-hand side, we actually directly with the kids, you know, have workshop. We also have training for school teachers, locally as well as, you know, from other place. That one, I think, is from Korea, the teachers from Korea, how to actually take the kids out to do community-based work. So that is you know, educators. On the far right-hand side, cultural worker, how to actually use arts to engage with the community. So it's like there's a lot of tools, the how-to that we actually currently sharing with formal education as well as non-formal group, like, you know, cultural workers. So that's actually somewhat what ArtSet does. I mean, that feels like where we, yeah, I mean, building the capacity of more people like us so that there are more people doing work like us, and also directly deal with kids, students that on the ground. So that's like two layers of work that we've been doing. Next slide. I think today, yeah, today the topic is a little bit about COVID, right? You see, so yeah, 2020 sounds very, you know, very like a plan, because actually Malaysia has this like wawasan 2020, where we say, like, you know, it's like a the year that we develop, you know, all these things, but actually I think we don't even achieve half of it. So but anyway, on the ground, like, you know, you always have plans. These are the plans that we put up, but then I think half of it, the red one, are the one that we say tak jadi. Means like, you know, either postpone, go online, offline, and or delay or cancel. So there's like this kind of word. There's like, I think started since March until now. It's the most word that I heard before in my life. Like, oh, go online, no, virtual, postpone, delay. So there's so much actually discussion within, you know, our team, go online or not online. But it defeats the purpose of, you know, doing our work, which is how to do place-based or community-based work, how to do online. So I think that's like the most kind of like conversation, you know, among us. The plan changed multiple times that I can't even keep track already. But I think it's an experience to us, like how actually flexible our work. But I think one core thing, I think in our decision, I can actually trace was, we still pretty much think that appreciate the work on site with people. So therefore, we didn't turn to virtual or online fully. It's only a very small portion of our work that actually go online. So we still have to keep that value of, you know, doing it on the ground. So that is our core that I'm going to go to the next slide. So yeah, this is the notice that we actually put up. So at first we thought 18th of March. Okay, it's only for 2 weeks, right? Oh no. So we have to send another notice, and then another notice. So I think we have to like scrap off until I think 12th May. I still remember it was the first day. I was so happy that we all can actually come back to the office. It's like, oh, finally, you know, we meet each other. Like like after like months. I mean, even though it's only 2 months, it just felt like it's so long. So that's actually, this slide is really sum up like, oh, again, everything is just delay and delay and like postpone and postpone. That's next slide. I'm going to show you what happened after 12 May. So it's actually still a control kind of period that we cannot like, freely go out. So we started with online. So May to July, we have like, arts, community engaged arts training for artists and cultural workers. They're supposed to start in March. So we are kind of delayed for 2 months, but it also gave us a little bit more time to, to plan actually. Sometimes, things happen, then we just have to deal with it. So I'm actually quite happy that, it's actually get delayed, then we get to do it. And surprisingly, good experience for first time really conduct a session, and we have never done it. And you can see the happy faces there. 4 days, 2 hours per day, intensively, like, wow, very hectic. But we actually first round, okay, ding ding, okay, we were late. But the good thing is, I think what we did here, I think, is we able to connect to our friend from Taiwan and Indonesia, where we never think of. Usually, when we think of like training, it's too expensive, that we never think of flying someone to come to your place and give a training. But this round, it's like, oh, it's so easy that you get a call. Hi, okay, can you be sharing your work here? So it means that suddenly the world feel like so small. I mean, so small and so close. Yeah, so then it get to listen to cases in Taiwan and Indonesia. So that is the two work Shuya. I think Hui Ling also know Shuya, and then we got get her to share about her work using forum data, and then Cooking in Pressure is Baku Tapan from Indonesia. So I think that it makes our world a little bit more broader. So it's like, oh, actually they are very close to us. Why we never have time to connect to our friends like today? I mean, like, yeah. So next slide. So after training, the trainee go on the ground. So this is still also, sorry, this is part 2 of the training. I mean, you can see some of familiar faces is Janet, and all that. We're still on the ground training, but all wearing masks. But we're quite careful, and this setting is actually at the local market, a public market. But we are quite okay lah, with all the SOP like follow. So we successfully run online and on-site training. So then another slide, next. So this another round, we have to split the training to 2 places so that there's not so many people. And again, this slide is from the training module is the same, but we actually conducted in another place, so that we split the number, becomes smaller, so that there's not so many people in one training. And this is another group of artists and cultural workers, which is actually in KL. Yeah. Next.
Yoke Pin, a few more minutes, yeah.
Oh, okay. So after
Fast,
training, the trainee then conducted a workshop. So these are the workshop in KL, where they actually engage the children to develop their leadership qualities skill, so that they actually claim back their place spaces, which is not very utilized at the moment. Next slide. So this is continue. So they actually use stick and ladder to put in places that they think good practice or not good practice. Yeah. So that's where they play with their residents, their peers in the place. Next. Wow, I'm going to run very fast. So this is the one that engaging the local market stakeholder on improving on waste management. So visual artists mainly, and also choreographer. So they actually quite use a lot of visuals to engage with the community who seldom talk to each other, try to build the bonding a little bit more. And then next slide, you can see that to talk, a lot of people talking, loading bay, display, talk to them how to improve, and getting their input on improving, getting their waste to properly segregated, and sent to the landfill. Next slide. And yeah, here, I'll be very fast. This one, I think these are some of the reflection. I found that is we couldn't do anything with institution. I mean, throughout these few months where things are very tight, instruction from upstairs. It's like, for example, school teachers and school students all cancel. But when we deal with community, the flexibility, we can stop, we can bincang, we can discuss about things, so the community will actually continue. So in for the past few months. So that's something that I actually found that that's actually what happened. Yeah. Next slide. And it gets us to think about do we actually, do we means ArtSet, because we've been running very, very busy schedule, looking at numbers, looking at a lot of projects. But then I think this COVID situation let us actually sit and think a little bit more, like, shall we actually really do more that kind of project? Connect to very particular selective community for a more longer term. Yeah, so that's where it's still thinking now in our mind for this. Next one. Yeah, structures and repeat. So we have actually create module for some, past 5 years. Wow, repeat it and run it so that you can hit more people. But hit as in you can outreach to more people. But I think we kind of started to lose a little bit about the experimental kind of spirit. Working with people. Are we building more lab? That I started with cultural lab, right? I think we slowly actually didn't have much that kind of joy and the fun. So we think we should call back this element that a little bit more balance. Next one, I think that last two, I guess. Yeah, and challenge ourselves. Do we want to stay put? Sometimes stay put means funding is there, or we actually want to realign and take a little bit risk and do changes. I say changes, not revamp yet. Yeah, I think that's also this is what we are thinking now because of things that happen. Like, do we really think certain structure, certain method is actually work or not? And I think this is the last one. Next one. Yeah. We are community-based arts and culture education. So these three boxes is keep on moving at the moment, where it's basically in our work definitely is interdiscipline, but it makes us relook at things like how which one should put more effort now, the time and the strength, and where are we making impact, and where are we our weaknesses are. So yeah, I think these three cube is still moving until now that I'm seeing, which I think is a good thing for us to reflect for the whole few months. Yeah, pass to you. Done.
Okay, thank you, Yoke Pin. Thank you very much. And actually, we do see some friends on be it Facebook or YouTube saying hello to y'all. And please also feel free at any point in time, the people who are watching us, if you do have any questions, you want to find out more, or even if you want to share your thoughts and opinions, please feel free to put it into the chat box. We'll be able to see them and then respond to them very, very soon. So next up, we have Clarence, my dear friend from YCAM in
Hello,
Japan.
everyone. Hello. Oh,
Hello,
okay.
hello.
Hello.
Yes,
Everybody
over
can
to
hear me,
you.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
loud and
thank
clear.
you. Okay, so Clarence here from YCOM, Singaporean. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Drama Box for their 30th anniversary. And I also like to thank Hui Ling and Drama Box for the invitation for me to give a chance to talk about how YCOM engage the community through arts. So first, I would just like to talk to the viewers. During or after the presentation, you can refer to the links that I shared or Drama Box shared earlier via the social media to understand more about the projects that I'm talking about. So without further ado, next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so this is why come. Okay, so YCAM is a short for Yamaguchi Center for Arts and Media. It's a media producing art center located in Yamaguchi City. So we mainly focus in creating new works via our artist in residence programs. And YCAM aims at the creation of new works that breaks new ground in the fields of arts and media. The center's environments and facility can be utilized to the maximum extent with artists staying and creating in the actual exhibition spaces. Uh, we also strive to advance the media technology to enhance the creativity of arts towards changing society and culture, and to research the social and cultural role of an art center in the context of these dynamics. So just to give you a sense, in 2014, we applied and also managed to operate as a research media art center in Japan. This means that we can submit research paper to seek for additional funding to support the projects that we work with the artists. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so where is Yamaguchi? So if you look at the map, we are at the west side of Japan, in between Hiroshima and Fukuoka. And it's a city where the total area is about 1,000 kilometers square. And it's a countryside, have an aging population of no more than 200,000. So it's quite a peaceful and quiet countryside. It's not so exciting as Tokyo or Fukuoka, the kind of big cities. There's nothing much here to do. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so we head into the center. Inside the center, we have the foyer and also the Studio A, Studio B. Studio A is like a mid-sized theater, and Studio B is like a black box or white box, we call it. And we have a library and also a cinema. So, okay, next slide, please. And the next slide, we're talking to talk about the facility. So we have auxiliary spaces such as we have a lab that we can fabricate certain stuff. And also we have a bio lab, a carpentry workshops, and venue to facilitate our experiments and R&D works. So the combination of the both spaces and facility enables the creation team to translate ideas into prototypes and from prototyping into a piece of artwork. So next. Okay, so this is the staff that we consider ourselves as lab. And we have a very young team with an average age of around 35 years old. Currently there are about 38 staff in the lab. And most of the staff have different backgrounds with several roles to support the creation of a new project by providing wide range of perspective based on their expertise. For example, we have a dancer who is also a video engineer, who is also a media tech. And also, for example, we have a lighting technical manager who is a researcher and who is a researcher and very much into forest and the temple and the history of Japan. And she is also happened to be a bio lab member as well. So what I'm trying to say is these lab members, we have different kind of skills coming together so that when an artist is being invited to create new work, we can provide the knowledge of certain perspective in all aspects too, so that it can widen the range of activities that we can do. So next slide, please. Thank you. So here in YCAM, we aim to be a venue for broad and cross-disciplinary learning through arts, works, and education program. So the world is changing at a dizzying pace as new and innovating technologies continue to be evolved. So we work with the mission of creating together, learning together with the local citizens and experts from various fields, exploring the diverse perspective of approaching media and technology, the potential of the information as a cultural foundation, and further the meaning of information for us as a human. Next slide, please. So how does creating together and learning together relates to engaging the community? So in YCAM, we engage not only the YCAM local community, which is the citizen, but also we try to grow the community like the open source culture, the DIY culture, and the fabrication culture, and also the sustainable culture on livelihood, and etc. So beside engaging with this community, we also further realize our ideas through discussion, creation, research, and develop along with them. With this phase, we can then further expand the culture, the resources, the capability, and the knowledge among us. For example, the background of this particular image is the installation of the background of this particular slide is the Korogaru Kids Playground which I will going to show it to you later. Will be a good reference about talking about engaging the local community through arts. Next slide, please. Okay, first, before we go into the kids' playground, first I'd like to talk about this particular artwork. This particular artwork is by Otomo Yoshihide, and the title of the artwork is called Without Records. What's so special about this installation is before we even start to install this particular piece of artwork, we gather local citizens through by having them to go through a workshops of modifying the record players. So the participants get to modify the record players and to the tones and the noises that that the artistic director directed them to do it. So for example, next slide. Okay, say for example, this particular record player, you can see there is a spring that is being attached to the platter, locking down the tone arm, so that when the record player starts to revolving, the tone arm is being stuck and starts scratching the thing. And if there is an obstacle, it will make the tone arm up and down, up and down. If you can referring to the video, you can know what I'm talking about. So next slide, please. So when all the record player is being modified, so what the artists will do is they reorganize them into different categories of rhythms and noises and orchestra the record player via the computer program to generate a multi-layer soundscape without ever creating the same combination of sound twice during the event period. So to make it easier for you guys to understand, the record player modified by the participants are considered as musician, while the artist is the conductor. Okay, next. Okay, next I'd like to talk about this particular events that is being held by our good friend from New York, which is called SSPC. School for Poetic Computation, and also YCAM, the education team. So just want to talk slightly about the SSPC. It's a group that offers students and faculty work closely to explore the intersections of coding, design, hardware, and theory, focusing especially on artistic intervention. It's kind of a hybrid of school residency and a research group. Next, please. So we realized that YCAM and SSBC, though we're situated at different locations, one is in New York, one is in Japan, but yet we have so much in common, especially the friends that they gather and also the friends that we know is all correlated because we are like into coding, hacking, DIY culture, fabrication, all that kind of stuff. So, and also the way how we think about the arts and community and the mission of creating together and learning together. For example, in New York, SSPC has been great and also noticeably active in growing the poetic computation community. And we hope by inviting the SSPC join together with the education branch, we can then extend this possibility here in Yamaguchi City for the local citizens. and also around the world. For example, and how should I describe it? For example, in the age where computation thinking is becoming more and more increasingly important for defining problems and work out appropriate solution, this 1 week intensive workshop combining elements from the SSPC curriculum and also YCOM education programs offer a new form of learning. Okay, then we jump into the next slide, please.
Which we will finish in a while.
Okay, I will rush soon. Okay, so this is the Korogaru series. To make it short, we created this playground. The playground is supposed to have the children to play on it without any rules and regulations. So what we're trying to do is we create the playground with uneven surfaces so that the children can run, jump, and experiencing the velocity and the gravity, and they can get excited about it. And also within the playground, we install media elements like sensors, speakers, and so that the children, and we don't tell them where the location of the sensors and the speakers, where they are. They have to locate by themselves, and they have to discover all these elements within the playground by themselves. And so that once they discover it, they might be excited to let the other kid knows about it, and thus they form a new relationship with another kids. Say for example, in this particular Kurogawa series, we have like camera mounted on the ceiling, projecting the view of the entire space, and we have a pinhole somewhere around the playground so that the kids can discover it and say, "Hey, I discovered something new," and they start to communicate with other kids or something like this. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is particular another Korogaru playground that we set it up at the outdoor area during our 10th anniversary. One great thing about this part is it is updatable. So meaning the base, which is the slope and everything, is remain the same, but the media technology is updatable. So every month we try to gather the kids for a meeting and try to update the playground, which I will mention more in detail in the next slide. Next slide, please. So this is what we call the kids meeting. Everyone will be present, including the YCOM staff. And during the meeting, the YCOM technical side and the kids, and also not the technical side, I mean the YCOM lab members, including the kids, they will brainstorm the ideas and curate the ideas together. And the kids will get to present the ideas, and also they will get to vote the ideas, which the ideas will be the best. And the winner will have their ideas being realized by the technical team. So the main idea is to tell the kids that if you can dream it, we can realize it. Yeah. So next slide, please. This is another community events that we have created. We call the Sports Hackathon. So what we do is it's a 3-day event. The first 2 days of the event is we try to gather the community and also the expertise and the engineers together and try to think about how to hack the sports and using the tools that we have. And from there, we will brainstorm a series of games for the participant to play, which will happen on the 3rd day. Next slide, please. This slide showcases how the Japan Sports Day for the children will be like. And we are using this traditional kind of play to embed with the media technology and create new forms of game for the kids to play. Next slide, please. For example, the kids will be teamed up into different color section. And what we'll do is in YCOM, we have the equipments like this one is a motion cap, and we'll do projection on the floor, and the kids will have a head wearing with a tracing sensor. So what they do is on the floor, there's some points, and the parents will wheelbarrow the kids so to collect the points. So the winner with the most point will be the winner, something like this. So another game, next slide, please. Another game is this little kid, there is a handphone at their hand, and the handphone is supposed to be there's an application to track the movement. So the purpose of this game is the opponent of the opposite team supposed to place the ball inside the basket, and the kid's supposed to run away from the opponent to being placed the ball inside the basket. By running away, you create a lot of movement. So he has to do is try to restrict as much as movement so that the phone will not gather a lot of points, and also to have less ball inside the basket. This is one of the games that we created together with the committee and also the team researcher. Then, since we are talking about what we do before COVID and what we do after COVID, and the next slide will tell you about after the COVID, how we streamline the Sport Hackathon into the online content. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so this is the online version of the Sport Hackathon. Next slide, please. So for example, every Sport Hackathon, we have a tradition of separating the audience into different colors. So because of the COVID, we cannot gather as much as audience. So what we do is we use the application called Miro, and we line up the thing, the participants, because all the participants, I think up to, if I'm not mistaken, for the online version, sorry, there is only 20 participants available to join. So the 20 participants are lined out into different colors, and we do the ceremony online, as you see at the below of the illustration chart. That is the background image of the Miro app. Next slide, please. Then we do the activities online at each individual spaces and streaming online for people to see. Yeah. Okay, the last project. Next slide, please. Okay, so next, this is our very current project. Which we unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we cannot carry out this live event successfully. So what we do is, this project is called Carry In Project. It's a project to design, build, and carrying the project that is barely able to fit into a certain spaces. The project was first conceived by this theater director called Noriyuki Kiguchi in 2008. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2017. And the project has been on the public domain, which is everybody can pick up an idea and implement it. So what we do is, since we cannot do this physical activities, so what we do is in YCAM, we build how should I say, a model scale version of YCAM, and through the workshop, we get the computer application developer to create the software so that the participant get to compute the different kind of shapes that can fit into the building and maneuver the structure or the objects that they created, and see how can they maneuver the space. So next slide, please. Then you can see what I'm trying to talk about. Yeah, so we have this robot that is being built, and the styrofoam is the object scaled down version, and we try to navigate using the robot through the spaces and how to tilt this object going through the spaces from point A to point B. Next slide, please. Then eventually, with all the workshop that we created with the participants and discussed with the participants, we display their contribution onto this exhibition that you see on the picture right now. Okay, next slide, please. So creating together, learning together, this is the concept of YCAM. We think that YCAM is a platform for updating culture and growing the community. Hopefully by creating the artwork, sharing the result, and connecting the arts and community. I hope you guys can get the ideas from the project that I'm trying to present to you earlier on. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation by pointing you again to the links so that you can find out more about Wycombe. Yeah, that would be it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Clarence. So, for those of you who are on Facebook, you will actually notice that on Draw Box's Facebook page, especially today, we have been sharing quite a lot of YCOM's projects, including the hackathons that he was talking about. Actually, there was something that I was wishing that Clarence will bring to Singapore, so we can exercise a little bit more. But otherwise, thank you, Clarence. Audience, those of you who are watching, and I know you are very excited to see your friends. But also, if you do have any questions and comments or opinions that you have, about working with community, be it in normal times, or how do they do it in their own spaces, or now during COVID time, I think both of them have really shared quite a bit. Please feel free to drop your questions, because after app we will have another short huddle together, and then we will love to really hear from the viewers what you have in mind, and then we can have a dialogue with you guys too. App, I hope you're ready to consolidate what they have said. Over to you, App.
Okay, I've never been ready.
Come on, over to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Actually, I won't talk about the history of the Makhampom Theatre Group much. I'm just gonna talk about that a little bit, and then we will have a look at the community project in the past 6-8 months of Makhampom. So, as some of us may already know, that Makhampom is actually a name of a theatre group that is this year is the 40th anniversary of Makhampom already. Yay! But I'm not 40 yet, so I only joined Makhampom. This is my 11th year working here. No, and also in the past 40 years, and also when I started joining, Makhampom have been transforming a lot. One thing that the former director talked to us, the younger generation, is that we keep the organization going with the thing that the younger generation wants to do, not to stick to what the older generation have done in the past. So Makhampom used to be a theater group, like Makhampom Theater Group, as the name say. But lately, we've been doing a lot of applied arts workshops, and we use different kind of arts other than theater in the communities as well. And in 2020, when COVID hits, we have applied a lot. We transform a lot because of that. So the first project I would like to mention is that, as you can see, I know you cannot read Thai, but you can see the number 19 on that. And can you guess what it is? It's COVID-19. Yes. We do this Chiang Dao COVID-19 literacy project. Before COVID hit, we were doing a lot of projects and programs with visitors, friends from overseas who would like to come and learn about culture, do the cultural exchange or performance exchange in the communities here in Chiang Dao, Northern Thailand, in Chiang Mai now. But when COVID hit, they cannot travel to us, and we cannot travel to them as well. So it's bitter to say that it's a good opportunity for us to really step back and look at the community around us, what they might want. And one thing that happened when around February, March, was like all the information that that central government give to people how to take care of themselves, the situation of COVID-19 every day is all in central Thai and even formal language. And many groups in Thailand trying to make it into songs, make it into storybooks, but it's very hard to find information in ethnic dialect, ethnic language. So what we did was translate the information, not only what language it is, but also level of language that is friendly for the villagers around the area. So this is our first media first product. We make it into a handbook, but not to give to the villagers themselves, but we partner with village health volunteer. This system has been mentioned in an article on BBC that in Thailand we have the local hospital, like sub-district hospital, and then there will be villagers who like volunteer themselves to help the health officers, local health officers, and be like they're just normal villagers but have workshops on how to take care of other people health wise. So we bring this booklet to the local health volunteer, and it helps them when they give information, because inside the information is very digestive. So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is when we had the meetings with the local health volunteer. It was quite difficult at that time because we didn't know if we really should bring them to meet as a group or what can we do, but online meeting doesn't seem like something that we can do in rural area around here, so we risk we just risk it. And okay, we have social distancing measure, we have face mask, we have alcohol and face shield and everything. So but that by doing it like this, the village health volunteer, they were so keen to come and learn about the information and how they can use this information. So we're not giving only how to take care of themselves, how to take care of the loved ones, but also we went to them with the technique of what we say positive communication, because at that time all the information will come and then you have to do this, you have to be away from each other at least 2 meters, you have to wear mask, you have to wash your hands. This information, when you receive a lot of it, you feel like you've been ordered around, and it's not a healthy way to like follow instructions. So how you can send this information to villagers who are like in the same level with you and come to an understanding. So we go with the positive communication techniques as well. Next slide. And also this is another media that we do. It's like what we call tent card. It's the triangle card that you put on tables at the restaurants that give information or something like that. So this is focusing on how to take care of yourself when you are in restaurants. And on this tent card, because in Chiang Dao we have about 8 different ethnic minorities living together with the local Thai people. So we've been talking like, can we put all 8 languages in only one tent card? Cannot. So we selected only 3 languages: is Thai, Chan, and English. Because at that time when we were launching this media, the lockdown has been lifted already, and tourists start coming. When tourists start coming, how we can still help giving this information to villagers and shop owners. So this is our other media. And the last media is the voice clip, because there's a number of villagers who cannot read languages as well, because in their groups they don't have written alphabet. So we do voice clips in 8 different languages, and then we send to the village leader to turn it on at the village announcement every evening. This is one of our projects. Next, please. My favorite. This is a solo performance by the a lady in the village that has been partnered with Makhampom for over 15 years. This village is a village of a tribe called Dara'ang, or better known as Palong. They migrated from Palong state in Myanmar and came to Thailand. No? But then they become stateless because they fled the war. House burning, running away, no documents, something like that. The same story everywhere. So when they came into Thailand and they got arrested many times because they don't have documents, and as well as they stayed on the national forest land. No, but now after 15 years working together, not only Makhampom but networks of NGO came and helped. So now they got their own land, and they can build house. They can live as a small village up on the hill, just 20 minutes from where I am now. And this lady, her name is Kam. Kam decided to make her story of her, like starting from very young age, walking across the border into Thailand, stop at the military base in other district, and then move to Chiang Dao, and then what happened along the way from when she was very young, like 4 years old, until now that she is a mother of 4 boys. What has changed in the identity and respect of the people to her and to her ethnic group. Next slide, please. And you can see that we combine different type of theater. We use shadow theater as well as the traditional dance that she has. So the story look at her history, but not as like talking or discussing, but weave into the visual, weave into the music and song. She talked about when she met her first love and what music that her first love sang to her and what she sang back to him. Very beautiful. And but we created this performance before COVID. And now we just resume bringing this performance out. It's a great thing about this performance is that this is her first performance, and her first performance she does it solo already, and she says something like I cannot remember the exact words that she said, but when I asked her, is it difficult performing? She said, living is more difficult than this. And I was like, sorry for asking. Which is true. So she like she really have like the power that she would like to tell this story to other people. Next slide, please.
Eb,
Yes.
you think you couldn't reach the time, right? The time is coming up
Okay.
soon.
Thank you.
So you see how you could finish up some of your slides and then
Okay.
tell us, yeah?
So this is
Thank
another
you.
image of her performance, video media as well. So next, this is the village ladies from the same village that I mentioned. The village ladies, they will gather and make handmade textiles and many kind of products. So what we did, next slide, please. Yeah. They have trouble that they keep making the same style, same design of product over and over, and it's difficult to sell. So we had a workshop, traditional handmade product development, and to use the same pattern, same way of weaving, but making it into different kind of product. Next slide, please. as you can see, in their traditional lifestyle, they don't have bags like this. It's just like this big. And in their traditional lifestyle, they need bigger than that when they go into the woods to collect things. When they go to market, they need bigger bags. And they wonder why you want small bags. Nobody use it. But like people use it, but maybe not around here, but people in big cities, they use it. They use it for their phone. They use it for some little things like credit cards or coins or those things. So they try to change their way of like, it is like nobody's gonna use it, and try to make it, try to develop it. This is just one of the example, but we also make like the, what do you say, the handle for the coffee cup, the big coffee cup, the big ice cup, Yeti cup, yeah, and also the like the hat in a more modern style as well, but using the pattern that they do normally. Next, please. This one. After COVID lockdown has been lifted, we very honored that Baby Mom Theater Group, quite famous theater mom theater group in Thailand. They want to come to visit us in Chiang Dao and perform a show which includes the how to protect themselves from COVID-19 for the kids as well. As you can see, we bring all the kids here, and what we worried is not that the kids will spread germs among themselves, but the group that come and visit will spread germs to the kids. So we make sure that we keep the distance, like at least 2 meters from the stage to the kids. Because in Chiang Mai, not only in Chiang Dao, but in Chiang Mai, there have been many months already that we get no new infection case. So what we're trying with this specific performance is that kids can stay together, but away from the people who travel from outside. So this group, they tour in 2 schools, and there was one day that they came to Makhampom, and we brought 6 schools together to see the show. And it is very nice because miming doesn't need language, it's body language. So kids from different ethnic groups can enjoy the show, and they understand very well that the green guy, he's the COVID-19 guy, we have to stay away from him, something like that. And it was so much fun at that time at the Makhampom. So this is pretty much what we've done in the past 8-10 months to try to cope with the situation of COVID-19, but as well as along with some other online experiment and online gatherings of we have a monthly meeting of young generation CEOs of other social transformation organizations or groups as well, to try to find out what we can do. But our context is in the community here that we cannot do much online thing because people don't connect to online much. So what we can do, I like what Yoke Pin mentioned earlier, like we have to look at the balance of being online and being on site. That's how we understand the community around us. Thank you. I think that's everything,
Yeah.
I guess.
Thank you very much. Thank you all 3 of you for your sharing. Actually, that was also a question that I had. This whole because all our works, including Drama Box's works, right? We really connect with people face to face. That interpersonal relationship is actually very, very important in the kinds of works that we do. That participation and all that. So I was also wondering, how. I think Ed spoke about it, and then I was wondering, like, for Yoke Pin and Clarence, right? For your groups, you all mentioned about the online version a lot as well. how about those people whom you do know and then actually connect with, right? But they are not available to have like internet connection, or somehow you don't have access to them, or they don't have access actually to the internet world or the online platform. You know, do y'all have any like ways in which you could mediate that? Did y'all have anything else, or actually you couldn't actually engage them during this period of time? Yoke Pin?
Yeah, I think there's these two groups that we dealt with. Those who actually even can access online, like the younger one, like the artist and the cultural worker, they able to, but they actually quite reject also. I mean, really reject means the qualities of the trainings and all is not really there. Like for example, the other groups that we work with, teacher, even though they can access, but actually you found out in Malaysia context, actually not every school students or teachers actually have very good internet bandwidth. So there's, even though your meetings, and all that, it's not being able to put them together. I mean, it's for a short meeting, yes, but to do our work in fully online is really difficult. So that's why we didn't go on the teachers training online at all. So we thought to wait for a time, and we communicate with the funder that it's actually very difficult to do online of the type of work that we want to do. So for our other community, as you can see just now what I presented, actually we, because of the situation being kind of controlled, we just go on the ground. I mean, like what we actually do with all the SOP, which I think we have to deal with that, where I don't think we can forever be online, which is not what we do. And people are still interacting and all that. I think we need to learn how to actually deal with it. So I think the project is still ongoing, but smaller number, smaller group. That's how we do it.
Thank you. Clarence, with anything to add?
Yes, I think kind of similar with Yoke Pin. For example, the last project that I'm talking about, the Carrying In project, instead of doing online version, we actually I think to start with, I think we kind of lucky because we are kind of an art center. We have our own venues and also the technical staff to support, and also have the time because we are not in the rush of renting out our venues to keep our how should I say, operation stay afloat. So during the COVID-19, a lot of shows has been postponed, and with that case, we have a lot of venues that has been empty. And so what we do is we make the session smaller, and we use the space that we have. For example, in the foyer spaces that just now I told to you about, we use that spaces and also the black box spaces that we have. And instead of having a workshop that to deal with maybe 40, 50, or even 100 people, we reduce it down to like 10, 15, and we do several sessions of it. So what we do is we spread out with all the SOP, and people is wearing the mask, and also we that's why for the moving carrying project we have the robot maneuvering the thing, but it's also kind of like how to interact with the technology and also how to use the technology in a useful way. So we have all this set in place, and then for now we have one of this, and also for the top section, we have a series of symposium, just one I think, not series, that we gather all the local community to talk about how what is arts appreciation. So what can art do to the community, all that kind of stuff. So we also spread out with a social distancing and all the guidelines, because we have such a big space, but we only cater for like 40, 35 people. So we've been doing all this, and that's for now. We are thinking what we can do for the community. Yeah.
Interestingly, as you're talking, I was just reading up the comments and the questions, right? And Xue Mei was asking also about your your thoughts of what the role of the arts can be in arts in community engagement during the pandemic. So I think both of you also happen to answer that already. I thought it was also quite interesting that many of our works, right, for amongst the four of us, this engagement, and we all know that the smaller the group, actually the just now Yoke Pin mentioned the depth and the breadth of it, right, that it becomes deeper in terms of the engagement and that connection. So actually for me, I did think that actually it's kind of a good thing that happened now that we are kind of forced into smaller groups where we can make these kind of very interpersonal connections and engagements with the groups that we're thinking we have been working with. By right, we do have an opportunity whereby the three panelists can actually also ask each other a question about what you have heard so far. Does any of you have any question that you want to ask the other party? Anyone? Your pin look like you're ready. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I actually chooses to ask Clarence, like, it's nothing to do with COVID, but it's actually very interested in how the different parties come together, yeah, in the YCAM. Like, who start first? Who is there anyone who lead? Or is just so naturally like, oh, I have an idea, pop, then, because I think for theater practice is very like, producer or dramaturg, or, that's kind of lead. So just want to understand it a little bit more clearer, or maybe you can use just now one of it to
Okay, I
describe.
think
Yeah.
I how should I put it? Like okay, to say in YCOM we don't have any hierarchy. Everybody is same, so we don't have top-down approach. So like say, please do this, please do that. No. So for example, even me as a production manager, I get to attend talk session. Normally it's curator, producer, all the kind of stuff. They attend all the talk session. So for example, 2 weeks ago, I tend to attend this talk session in Korea in the opening of this museum, awesome museum, and all the curators are very, very famous. Then I'm like nobody, suddenly production manager. They kind of the status come out. Then I was like, actually, I think this is what the strength of YCAM is, because we don't have this kind of mentality that producers should do this. And so for me, for example, I also I will be able to do my own personal project together with my co-partner and also producer, and which will be launching next year, something like this. We have this kind of flexibility. So, and what's good thing about YCAM is often it leads by the curator and the producer what they want to do, but the good process in YCAM is we will have the technical team that comes in and to contribute their own ideas what this project should be. And often we come to research together, study together, and contribute different ideas. And also we not only working with artists and also technicians, but we also work with researcher, scientists, robotic engineers, all the kind of different aspect, and also people who are into forest, into bio, all that kind of stuff. The main idea is to widen the knowledge, so that the knowledge, so that we can contribute to this project in a wider aspects. Yeah, but this also a bad point for us, because we often struggle. Like, okay, so who has the final say? You understand what I'm trying to say? So has the good side and also the bad side. Is a balance of how to manage it. Yeah.
So who has the final say? Since you mentioned, right? I mean, I'm sure it depends on each project, but how do you all actually have a conclusive
Sometimes,
conclusion?
most of the time will be the artist who lead the way, because we invited the artist. And but we are lucky that because the artists, they kind of understand, they kind of respect, and the artists that we often invite them is like a family. We are like a family, so it's not like artists only talk to this area of people, but artists get to mingle with everybody, something like this. So we behave like a family. So I think that is a very welcoming environment for us. And also the reason why the artists respect us is in a way that for example, when I was here in 10th anniversary, there's Ryuji Sakamoto and also Shiro Takatani. They're quite big famous artists in Japan. They have some ideas that is been wanted to realize, and our team next day in the morning we presented the prototype for them to play with. So these are the urgency and also the focus that we able to put onto the project so that the artists can gain it and we can discuss it. I think that is the process that is very valuable for us. Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe while we hear the rest of the questions from the other two panelists, right, I would just like to address one of the questions that came up again from Shemay. But before that, hello friends from the other parts of Asia, Malaysia, from Thailand. Hello, welcome. It's great to see you all. Yeah, app is very happy. Okay, the question here is that how actually is a question for Clarence again. Shemay would like to understand more about how do arts projects come into to be on the public domain. Is it something that is unique to YCAM or is it common in Japan?
Okay. Just now I stressed that ever since I think several years ago, the YCAM is very much based on the open source concept. What do you mean by open source? That means our idea is not solely is owned by us, but it's free for people to pick up and develop further. So the public domain is kind of similar. And if you can look into the website by typing like Creative Commons, public domains, open source, they are kind of all related. And it's kind of like the concept of YCAM is, from what I see, is we develop something and we put it online for people to take it and use it without any fee. And they just need to credit, this is by YCAM. That's all. And the purpose of it is so that they can learn from the things that we created and further develop it to make it better. That's the kind of a concept of open source. So I think this is a very powerful tool for us to use it. And so that because that amplifies the diversity of thoughts, so that the idea owned by from some organization can be developed into better with different perspective and different contribution. Yeah, and hopefully this idea, when it become better, it can be shared to the rest of the world. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For the rest of the viewers, we have a little bit more people coming in. So please do also type in your questions while we go back to the other panelists who might have questions for their friends here. So Clarence and Yoke Pin, Yoke Pin asked already, right? Clarence and App, they all have questions for another panelist. Anyone?
I don't have questions, but from the conversation that Yoke Pin and also App has presented, I realized that how should I put it? We are all three different kind of organization trying to solve different layers of issues. For example, I think although I'm saying that I'm located at the countryside, for example, our population is very old, and we have to think about ways how to get the young people coming back to this countryside so that the whole countryside area can be able to sustain. That is our issues that we're trying to think how art center can actually resolve this whole thing and help to improve this situation. But for app, they have another kind of different situation to deal with, which to me is quite I'm very happy to hear from you, because this is something I would never think of it, because from the way how you describe how you're helping the how should I say, the seniors and the children, how you educate them to form an awareness of the COVID-19. I think that is very, very admirable. And for Yoke Pin, I think and also all the resources you trying to use it. And I think to that extent, I kind of feel that I'm very lucky to be in where we are. And also Yoke Pin also. So I think and also both of you guys are been in this area for quite a long while, and I really admire the spirit of staying the how should I say maintaining this and hoping to do this more for the community. And I think this is something which Wycombe should pick it up from you both, and also Yoke Pin, from the activities that you do. I think there's a lot of work. I wonder how many people is helping out for the organization in us at There is some thoughts that I have to share.
Yes. Yoke Pin, how many people? How big is your team now? 3.
3 full-time.
Oh.
Yeah.
And 30 other
full-time. The rest are volunteer-based, like committee. And then they are like volunteers. And some of others are, because they attended the training, so then it's like a application session, so then they continue. So the others are considered more project-based, that, on a specific one. So I would just regular project-based about 10, but then it also depends on what projects and what kind of duration. So in office now is 3 people that
they actually have an army behind them. Like the Yoke Pin, whenever I see her projects, like wow, they have a lot of I thought they're from my understanding of the kind of one very big part of their work. Initially, they may not have really called it so, but I think a lot of capacity building, be it in the community, like training programs. They teach the children a lot of skill set. They teach, and facilitation processes also, as well as the teachers, like she mentioned before. So I always very am very admiring, the kind of scaffolding that she does for all the participants in the community that she has. Because that actually also part of the reason why I think I mentioned to you all is that the way why I wanted to invite you all, because I think we all, like Clarence said, we all deal with the community in that similarity, but actually the difference is not just the kind of communities that we deal with, but the kind of context that we are in, whether, for example, like Clarence's is in a space itself where the people come in, and then for Yoke Pin and Ed, it's really going out to engage with them, understanding what is needed on the ground, and then getting them to respond, and then speaking like apps, literally speaking the language that the people will understand. So that was also something that in our talks prior to this session today. Those were some of the things that were inspired in my mind also, about how the 4 groups of us, the kind of community engagement that we do, that somehow it seems to be different in terms of the methods or actual know-hows of how to do. But actually, there are a lot of similarities that we started to congregate, like, for example, training programs that we're looking at. And then also, we mentioned about the lab. Actually, more than one of us, actually, Dropbox is also considering, or rather, actually, we are going to start in November, this lab that we are going to do experimentation, which I mentioned to you all before. Now, how we actually use this time to consolidate that, and then and realize that all of us, although we are in different cities in the world, but there are still a lot of similarities because of the need of the work that has come to that. Now I see another question coming from Jeffrey. Let me show you all. So hi, Jeffrey. So he would like to ask the panel, how has the COVID situation affected the funding of the project? Ed has a lot to say to that. I recall our conversation. Ed, maybe you'd like to go first.
Okay, you see my body language very clearly, right? Yeah, it's affect a lot. So I may give some background first. No, like the Makhampom Theatre Group, we have 2 parts of our group. One part is the foundation that we write project proposals, find funding through grants, and another part is that we are social enterprise called the Gooseberry Arts. The Makhampom fruit, in English we call it Indian gooseberry, so that's why the name of the company is Gooseberry Arts. So the social enterprise side, we have workshop programs that the public can come and attend the workshops and pay a fee to join the different kind of workshops. So when COVID came, the program part just collapsed because people cannot travel. So we have to focus more on the project, the funded project parts. And like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that it's bittersweet to say that it's a good opportunity that we come back and look at the community, because we cannot go outside, we don't have visitors. Then we have a look at the people around us and what we can do to help make their life a little better. So most of the funding in the past 10 months, I can say that they're all from the funded projects. And now we are proposing for the second phase of the COVID-19 literacy that I just showed the slide earlier as well. So we forget about the program part. And everybody who like when we separate workforce, we separate workforce into two sides. But when the situation changed like this, the workforce of two sides come together and help try to find a way how to survive in a situation like this. So it's a big thing to change like the system of work and finding funding as well.
I recall when we were having the conversation that actually the COVID project that you were doing was also a kind of new funding that came in because your other funding for your other original programs were affected, right? So that was one way in which you kind of adjusted and then got this new COVID funding to come in and do that education awareness program that you mentioned just now, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. How about the other two?
Yeah,
Clarence and Yoke Pin? Do you all have any? How has it affected the funding in your projects or your organizations?
Maybe I go first. So I think for us, I think we are kind of lucky because we are not so much affected by the COVID-19 situation, and also our funding is solely coming from the government side, and also the culture side. So we don't depend on sponsors as well. And that to say, our funding isn't a lot. It helps a lot by having our own technical team and also the spaces and the time, because all these are being contributed from the government. For example, they are the one who pay our salary, and we don't input the venue rentals into all the projects that we do. So we're kind of lucky in that. So for that, yeah, we are not so much affected by the COVID-19 situation in terms of funding.
Thank you. Delphine, with Annie?
My side, I think our core funder who actually has been supporting it for the past 10 years, I would say. First year, I mean this year, because of COVID, then cancelled totally. So it's like almost like I think more than 70% of our main source. And yeah, it stopped. But luckily, I mean, when I say luckily means we kind of started to look into alternative last year. So then that the other one continue. And we also, you see, 3%, we also know that we're actually doing a lot previously. So we kind of like slow down and taking this time to reflect, to look into more kind of our work. So we stay with like a more lower percentage of work, but it's still a lot that we are doing. And I think, yeah, taking the time to plan. But I would say, like Eb said, I mean, it's not good that, the pandemic is actually came, but it really, really gave us a lot of reflection time, like not to actually keep chasing things. So like, thinking, daily a lot of inward kind of thinking, internal planning, not even planning, but just should we do this, then all that. And that's where we actually did our 20 years of impact kind of self one whole day or talking about, whether things that we actually do, is it worth, or shall we actually come back to our heart, to look at that. So that's why funding, I think somehow it's the more whether you want to go for this type of funding or not. So I think we actually have choice. I mean, after that, I think we pause and then we look at, actually we do have choice, and quite a lot of choices. And now that we are looking at next year, and we're quite busy with writing proposal first, but not sure whether money coming. But it also gives us another alternative for finding other types of funding.
Yeah, it seems that we have been also using this opportunity really very much to go introspectively to see, okay, where are we at now? What have we been doing, and where are we going next? Okay, so I hope, Jeffrey, we have answered your question. Any other final thoughts from the panelists, or things you want to say to our other friends, each other? I mean, although we have already caught up once. Yes, Ed.
Something come to my mind when I listen to both Clarence and Yoke Pin, that the COVID-19 situation, it affect or not affect, and then the way we change, the way we have to cope with it. Before the COVID situation, when we do projects or any programs, that then we found something that some problems that, and then we say to our team that what could be worse. We pass that point. We solve that in that program. We solve this in that project, and then after COVID-19, I think we can say it louder. Like, what could be worse? Something could be worse, but at this point, I think we were more resilient, and we are more equipped with like the techniques, and I don't know, the way that we're stronger, we're more resilient, and we're more prone to exploring opportunities and possibilities. It's not a good thing that it happened, but we use it for our own good.
Yeah, actually, I also realized that for us at Drama Box, actually, we kind of also realized we took the year to do a lot of introspection and reflecting on what is really the core of the work that we do, what is then important of what we want to do, and what do we want to continue and pursue further. And actually, like what Yoke Pin was saying, how do we actually that maybe we were doing too much at some point. How do it's not about streamlining, but more so of the clarity during because of the space that is given to us, the clarity and of what we really want to do, and also what is then, for example, like the interpersonal connection that we spoke about just now, the person-to-person relationship and the connection actually is pretty core in the kind of work that we do. And then thinking of other ways, maybe not like everybody jump onto the online platform, but think of other ways in which we could further and deepen participation interactions with our communities, with that either the smaller groups or with social distancing regulations in place. So those were also some, the similarities in terms of some of the things that y'all were talking about. Okay, I'm looking at time and we are a little bit past time, so perhaps if any panelists or audience have any last words that you want to share for us tonight, although our conversation, I'm sure for the four of us, we will continue. Yes, Yoke Pin?
No, I have very
Yes.
simple one. I just want to say happy birthday to everybody. I mean, as in like organization. Like happy 40, happy 40, happy 30,
happy 20, happy 17.
and happy 20, happy 17. I guess just to also give
Thank you.
encouragement for everybody. I think community work is actually long term, and it's very enjoy and fun. I hope that that more people like join the whole journey and learn together. I mean, it's not just within my place. I mean, I'm actually quite happy because this kind of online session where, I've been so long and I haven't heard about Makhampom, and knowing the situation now in Thailand, that hey, we are here. We are here. Yeah. So like, okay, catching up, I mean, it's also give us a bit more encouragement to, to continue to do our work in our own place.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, for my side, I just want to say I think very happy to know you're playing an app. So I hope that we have chance to work together. I think that will be very fun. And hopefully this will not be the end. Hopefully we can stay in touch. And everybody, I mean, including Drama Box, we stay in touch and see. Hopefully we can make use of this connection to do
Mm,
something worthwhile for the community. Yep.
yeah.
Mm.
Yesterday I was doing a class for a local university here in Singapore, and then I was they part of their the reason why I was there was because they had an assignment that they needed to do to design uh, uh, well, placemaking, participatory kind of experience for a local area here in Singapore. And then, but they only have very little time because in school, right? So they had very little time. And then I was sharing with them one of the slides of one of our projects about the timeline. Then from the beginning till the end, it was actually 3 years. Then I think I remember I had this conversation with Yoke Pin long time ago. And I don't know if you still remember it, but I told you, say, wow, your your projects are very long, huh? Like they easily 1.5, 3 years and above. And I realized that in the many years of and the many groups, be it like within the Southeast Asian region or further on in Europe, etc., all these community groups actually, be it the groups itself or the practitioners, do it for years and years on end. Projects last a lifetime sometimes, because I think at the end of the day, this kind of community-based work is about people's lives. And it's about your life, about my life, right? So that interaction, that connection is something, once we make that touch point, is something that actually continues and seeds and grows like a tree. So that was something when I was talking to the students yesterday, like adding on to what your Pin was talking about, that yeah, actually this kind of work that we do when we go when we work in community spaces, that perhaps we need to start looking at it from a different frame, at least maybe a lot of us here in Singapore, that it's not a project, but actually it is about a person's life that we are intervening at some point in time. And then how do we continue to support both the persons whom we are connected with, and also ourselves and the other partners that we have. How do we become, like what Ed says, a more resilient city, or a society on whole in general? I guess that, I believe, is something that all four of us would really love to continue seeing in our work, the kind of strength within the community that we do, because because of our intervention, we really hope that our community really becomes stronger in whatever way that we want. So thank you very much to the panelists, and also the viewers. Quite a lot of you really actually stay on for the entire 1.5 hours. So thank you very much for your patience. But before you go, you will really help us if you could take out your phone right now. All of us got this in Singapore, right? We have all these scanning thing, the QR code. So use your phone now, please, to scan these QR codes. One of them, the one on the left, is a feedback form, which will really help us when we submit it to our funder to say we are doing something. Okay, so please help us to fill in the feedback form, and more importantly, again, the donation of every single dollar, if you can, to share and support the kind of community practices that we are all doing here, be it in Singapore or also overseas. So please take out your phone and then do a quick scan. And yes, we would be very appreciative of all these that you have given to us. Next up, actually, I'll just leave the slide on, and just like to say to the audience also that actually, as I mentioned earlier, that this is the third of a series of talks and panels that we have to celebrate and connect with our audience for Drama Box's 30th anniversary. So please continue to either like our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and follow us, so that you can be the first to know about the next upcoming session that we have. I heard it's quite exciting. Our dear marketing colleagues are putting it all together, and it's quite exciting. So I look forward to that. So please keep a lookout for this. But otherwise, thank you very much, everybody, tonight for your time. You're still in time to go out for a Halloween party, but please be safe make sure that you are safe not just from the ghost but also from the virus. And have a very good evening. And please also thank you very much to my dear 3 friends who are here with me tonight for making this happen for all of us here at Drama Box. So a very, very deep thank you to all of you. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.